My plan for the class today is to sort of zero in a little bit on the lower back and the hips and just kind of the areas that tend to affect us most when we're working from home, sitting a lot in a chair, and hopefully this class will energize us a little bit as well, because as I was just talking about with Melanie, it's a very sleepy kind of day and it's hard to feel entirely motivated today, so I'm hoping this will be the solution. So we'll go ahead and we'll get started in a nice comfortable seated position. So this can be any position that allows you to sit up nice and tall. I will encourage you, if you can sit cross-legged, that might be ideal right now. You can feel free to grab a pillow or something to sit on top of if you want a little extra height. And we'll just go ahead, sit up nice and tall, take our shoulders back, gently lower our gaze to the floor, maybe close our eyes if we feel comfortable with that. And just take a moment to check in with ourselves right now at the very beginning before we get moving today. Take a moment to observe how your body feels in this posture, if there are any areas that are particularly tight or gripping. Maybe notice if you can adjust any little bits of your posture to make it a little more comfortable for you. And then bring your attention to your breath. Notice how your breath is moving, if it's fast or slow, deep or shallow. Again, just observing. And then notice how your mind is moving. If your thoughts are racing around, perhaps like me, you're feeling a little bit sluggish today, just observe. And as you observe your body, your breath, and your mind all together, take a moment just to accept it as it is. And then gradually, deepening your breath, bring your attention to your breath moving in your belly. Breathing nice and deep down into the belly. And then exhaling nice and smooth out through the nose. 2 more just like that. Take a nice deep breath into the belly. Feel the belly expand, and then exhale nice and smooth out through the nose. 1 more time, take a nice deep breath down into the belly, the deepest breath you've taken all day, and exhale nice and smooth. On your next inhale, roll your shoulders up towards your ears, and exhale, we'll take them down gently, opening the eyes, maybe lifting the corners of the mouth, getting a nice big smile because we're about to start yoga. All right. From here, we're going to take the right hand out to the side and bring that right hand down onto the mat. With an inhale, reach your left arm up and over, coming into a nice side stretch. We're waking up the side body here. Think about rooting down through your left hip. Take a nice deep breath in, pull your belly button into your spine at the same time, engaging your core and your obliques. And as you exhale, we'll lift on up, bringing that left hand down to the mat. On your next inhale, reach your right arm up, and exhale, we'll reach that right arm up and over. Again, really engaging the core, rooting down through that right hip. Feeling nice and strong, waking up the obliques and the side body. Take 1 more inhale, and then on the exhale, we'll make our way back up to center. Nice. We're going to take our feet from this cross-legged position now, and we're going to bring the soles of our feet together. So we're making a diamond shape with our legs. Now, a couple words about this shape. You'll often see a lot of yogis pulling their feet in super, super close, pressing their knees down towards the floor, and they're managing to sit up super tall at the same time. This is really hard to do, and it takes a lot of practice to get there. I am clearly not even there yet. So, my recommendation for today, keep your feet a fair distance from your body. You're not putting a ton of strain on your hips because this is the start of our practice, and make sure you can sit up with quite some height. So if you find you're still like really rounding, maybe take your feet a little bit further away from you. Totally fine, wherever you are. Our shape might all slightly look a little bit different, but we're all practicing the same pose. It'll all feel the same to us, and that's what's important. From here, you can rest your hands on your shins, maybe your ankles, depending on where your feet are. Take a moment to sit up nice and tall, and then we're gently just going to start pulsing the knees up and down. So when I've been teaching this pose to kids, I call this butterfly pose. So you can imagine you're flapping your butterfly wings, feeling a little bit more playful in your day already. Things are looking up. And then from here, take a moment to use the muscles in your legs now to open up your butterfly wings as much as possible. You want to be drawing those knees down towards the ground, and you're not pressing with your hands on your legs. You're just using the muscles in your legs to encourage your knees to move down. Remember to breathe here. Continue to take those nice deep belly breaths as you use the muscles in your legs to engage, bringing your knees down. If you'd like a little bit more, hinging from your hips, maybe see if you can lean forwards a little bit, getting a bit of a deeper stretch into your hips, still breathing nice and steady. And now stretches like this are important because often tightness through the hips is also felt in the lower back. We're going to be really using the core today, stretching out all around the core, around the hips, even a little bit into the hamstrings. These are all areas that impact the lower back. We'll take one more deep breath in here, and then exhale, we'll come back to center. As we continue our exhale, it's a nice long exhale, we're going to round our way back. So you really tuck your chin towards your chest. Take a nice deep breath in here, feel your back body expand. And then as you exhale again, we're going to round forwards. So again, you just move as far as feels good to you. And as you inhale now, we're going to scoop the nose up towards the ceiling and allow the chest and the rest of the body to follow. We're going to move through a bit of we're going to weave the breath with the movement here. So we're going to exhale, rounding back, and continue rounding forwards. And then as we inhale, we're going to scoop the nose up, followed by the chest and the body. 2 more times. We're going to exhale, starting to round back and then round forwards. Inhale, scoop it up. And one more time, we're going to exhale, round it back, and then forwards. And inhale, scoop it up, coming back towards center. Nice. So that's kind of like a cat-cow movement for the spine while we're still stretching out the hips in this butterfly position. From here, we're going to keep that left leg bent, but we're going to straighten that right leg out in front of us. So I'm going to turn sideways on my mat here. Now you want to take that left foot and pull it in so that it's meeting the right thigh. We're going to come into a forward fold here. Take a moment to sit up nice and tall. You can bend that front knee as much as you need to here. So if you find you're again rounding through the spine, go ahead and bend that knee so you can sit up nice and tall. With an inhale, we're going to reach up towards the ceiling, and exhale, trying to fold from the hips so we're not really rounding through the spine. We're just going to allow our hands to rest gently on the mat, wherever they rest. They might be close to your foot, they might be closer to your knee. Totally fine wherever it is. We'll take one more nice deep breath in here, lift the chest, and then exhale, allow everything to round forwards, down towards the ground. Take a nice deep breath in here. Maybe notice you're feeling a bit of a stretch in your lower back here on the left side. Breathe into that spot. Take one more inhale. And then on the exhale, we're going to roll our way up, and we're going to switch legs. So you can bring your feet back into that diamond position to start, and then stretch that left leg out forwards. Pull your right foot in so that it comes to meet your left thigh, and take a moment to adjust however you need to sit up nice and tall. So that might mean bending your front leg. Maybe you can have your leg totally straight. Again, doesn't matter. Wherever you are, take a nice deep breath in, reach up nice and tall, lift up out of the waist, and then exhale, hinging from the hips. We're going to fold forwards, bringing the hands to rest gently on the ground, and this can be either by your foot, maybe closer to your knee, wherever feels best to you. With an inhale, lift your chest one more time, And exhale, allow your body to sink forwards down towards your leg. Try to flex your left toes up towards the ceiling here. Notice how this will immediately bring an extra stretch into your leg. And then notice if you're feeling any stretch through your lower back. This might be on the lower right side. Breathe into that area where you feel it most. Take one more inhale. And then on the exhale, we're going to round our way back up. Sit up nice and tall, nice. We're going to bring both of our feet flat onto the floor here. Slightly wider than hip distance apart. Take your hands behind you and we're gently just going to knock our knees to one side and then the other, loosening up the spine a little bit, loosening up the hips. And then we'll rock our way all the way over towards our tabletop. So in tabletop, the hands are under the shoulders, the knees are under the hips. We're going to take just a cat-cow here, just one of each. So with a nice deep inhale, sway your belly down towards the ground, take your gaze up. Notice how this feels similar to what we were doing in our seated position. And then exhale, round it back, really pressing down into the floor, tucking your chin to your chest. And return to center. From here, curl your toes under. And if you're with me, take a moment just to hover your knees up off the mat. This might just be like a couple of inches, really not all that much. Firmly press your hands down into the mat and notice how your core and your back body engages even here. Doesn't look like you're doing all that much, but really you are engaging your core. And this is something we want to keep going through the rest of the practice today. Take one more inhale here. I know it's tough. And exhale, lower your knees down, shake out your hips from one side to the other. Maybe swaying your hips to one side. Glance back towards your hips, sort of checking to see if you've grown a tail almost. And then sway it to the other side. Check the other side just to be super sure. And coming back to center. With your toes curled under, we're going to lift up to our first downward dog. So we'll hover the knees up and then shift the hips up and back. Really lengthening through the spine and then straighten your legs one at a time, trying to bring one heel towards the floor and then the other, pedaling out the feet to stretch out the backs of the legs. And don't worry if your heels don't touch the floor here. It really takes a lot of flexibility through the legs, a lot of give through the hamstrings and the calf muscles to be able to bring your heels down. And that's why we're here. We're just working on stretching those today. So the point isn't bringing your knees to the floor, your heels to the floor. It's just having that experience of stretching out the legs. Now, wherever you are, take a moment of stillness, reaching both heels down towards the floor. And then as you exhale, we're going to walk our feet up towards our hands. And with an inhale, we're going to lift up halfway, bringing the spine parallel to the floor, gaze to the floor, engage your core here. And then exhale, we're going to fold forwards one more time. With an inhale, we're going to rise all the way up. You can reach your arms forwards if you like, coming all the way up. And exhale, bring our hands down through center. Very nice. Okay. We're going to move through a little bit of a modified sun salutation before we come into some standing poses today that are really going to stretch out the lower back, the hips, and engage the core. All three of those things together should hopefully alleviate some lower back pain that I know some of us, myself included, have been experiencing lately. So from our nice strong mountain pose up at the top of our mat, our feet are about hip distance apart. Take your shoulders back, reach your fingers down towards the floor, take a nice deep breath in, and exhale with a sigh here, let it all out. With an inhale, reach your arms up towards the ceiling, and exhale, we're going to fold forward, swan dive, opening the arms out to the sides, bending the knees as much as you need to. Inhale, we're going to lift up halfway, and exhale, we're going to fold, plant your hands, and we're going to step that right foot back to come into a nice low lunge. We're going to bring the knee down onto the floor here. And when you feel stable, we're going to come on up onto that one knee. With an inhale, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. And exhale, hold on to the right wrist with the left hand. We're going to arc over towards the left side. So we're arcing to the side of the front knee. Take a nice deep breath in here, engage your core, pull your belly button in towards your spine, and exhale, we're gonna come on up, bring your hands down towards the floor. From here, you wanna start to peel those front toes up off the mat as you shift your hips back in space. So your front foot starts to peel up off the floor, straightening that leg as much as feels okay to you, and then maybe folding forward slightly to really get a nice deep stretch through the hamstring here. Often with tight hamstrings come tight hips, come tight lower backs. This is a great pose to practice to loosen that all up. Take one more inhale here, and then exhale, we're gonna shift it back forwards, plant the hands. We're gonna pick that back knee up and step that left foot back towards a plank, and then shift it back to downward dog. Take one nice deep breath in here. And then on the exhale, we're gonna work on the other side, stepping that right foot forwards. And again, as always, if it only comes part of the way, feel free to shove it along to where it needs to go. Coming down onto the left knee. When you feel stable, we'll rise on up onto that one knee. With an inhale, reach your arms up towards the ceiling. And then exhaling, we're gonna grab the left wrist and arc over to the right side. Pull your belly button in towards your spine here, engage your core, inhale here, and then exhale, we'll come back to center, bring the hands down. We're gonna shift the hips back, peeling those toes up off the mat. Starting to straighten that leg a little bit, maybe folding a little forwards to get into that nice deep hamstring stretch. Maybe you're also feeling it through the glutes here, maybe into the hips. Remember to breathe, take a nice deep inhale. And exhale, we're gonna shift it forwards, plant the hands, step it back towards plank, and then shift it back to downward dog. Nice, take one nice big inhale here. And then on your exhale, walk your feet up towards your hands. We're gonna inhale, lift up halfway, and exhale, fold. Inhale, reach your arms forwards, come all the way up, and exhale, bring the hands down through center. Nice, hopefully we're all a little bit warmed up now with that movement. We're gonna work our way through a bit of a standing series. So take your feet nice and wide on your mat. We're gonna turn the right toes forwards and the left toe slightly in. Bending the front knee so that it's right on top of the ankle. We're gonna shift our shoulders to align with the front of our mat, and with an inhale, reach up for warrior one. Take a nice deep inhale once you've arrived, and exhale maybe with a sigh. On your next inhale, reach up nice and high with your arms, and exhale, we're gonna rotate our body to the long edge of the mat, reaching the arms out wide for warrior two, taking the gaze over the right fingertips. Continue to breathe nice and strong here, nice and smooth. And then we'll go ahead, take one more inhale, reaching out really wide with the arms, maybe wiggling the fingers. And exhale, we're gonna straighten that front leg, maybe release the arms, roll out the shoulders a little bit. We're gonna be making our way into triangle and then a balancing pose, and then we're gonna do this on the opposite side. So, with a nice big inhale, we'll reach the arms out one more time, and then hinging from the hips, we wanna reach forwards with the right fingertips as far as we can reach without tipping. And when you can't reach any further, allow that hand to just drape down towards your leg. Keep your palm facing forward so you're not using the weight of your hand to support you on your leg. And reach your left arm up towards the ceiling. Notice how you really have to engage your core here. Notice how you're feeling a bit of a stretch through your lower left side of your back. Notice how you might be getting a stretch through your obliques. This is everything we've been working on so far today. Take a nice deep inhale. And then on the exhale, we're gonna rotate our body down towards the floor. You can bend your front knee, spiral onto your back toes to come back towards a lunge, but we're keeping that back knee lifted. From here, we're gonna try to float that left foot up off the ground. We're coming back towards Warrior 3, which we've done in a couple of classes so far. And you might not come any further than just lifting your toes a little bit off the mat. And you can keep your hands on the floor totally fine. But maybe you can come parallel to the floor. And my challenge for today is half moon pose. So in half moon, maybe you stack your pelvis. You have your left hip on top of your right and you rotate your body open to the left. Engaging your core, working those obliques, stretching out that lower back as it's working to support you. Take one more inhale wherever you are. And then exhale, we're gonna lower it down. Bring that left foot to meet the right. And then slowly roll your way up to standing. Well done, I know that's really tricky. Now we're gonna do it on the other side. So again, we're gonna start by taking our feet out nice and wide. This time we're turning the left toes out and the right toes slightly in, bending that front knee to come right on top of the left ankle. Square your shoulders to the short end of your mat. And with an inhale, we'll reach the arms up towards the ceiling for Warrior 1. Breathe here, find the strength through your legs, feel a stretch through that right hip flexor. Take one more nice deep breath in, and then on the exhale, turn your body to the long edge of your mat, reach your arms out to the sides, and take your gaze over your left fingertips for Warrior 2. Again, this is opening up the hips here, you're super strong through the legs. Notice if you're leaning forwards in your Warrior 2, try to center your body over your hips. Take one more nice deep breath in here. And then on the exhale, we'll straighten that front leg, maybe lower the arms for a second, give them a break, roll out the shoulders, shake them out a little bit, and we'll make our way towards triangle. So with an inhale, we'll raise the arms one more time, that front leg is straight now. And hinging from the hips, we'll reach those left fingers forwards. And when they can't reach any further, allow that hand to tip down, reaching your right fingers up towards the ceiling. Notice how your core is engaged here. Keep your chest rotating open. Feeling that stretch through the back right side of your body. And remember to breathe. Notice if you've lost track of your breath. Without the breath, yoga is basically just gymnastics. We really want to bring the breath into this practice. Take one more inhale wherever you are. And then on the exhale, we're going to bend that front knee as we rotate to bring the right fingertips down towards the floor, shifting onto the back toes. We're making our way towards Warrior 3. This might mean you just hover those right toes up off the mat. Maybe you can bring that leg parallel to the floor. Maybe you want to play with your balance, you lift your hands up off the floor here. Or if you want to try half moon pose, you're going to rotate your hips so they open up towards the right. Maybe reaching your right arm up towards the ceiling, engaging the core, really working the back side body here. Wherever you are, take one more inhale. I know this is tricky. And exhale, we're going to rotate that hand back down. Bring that right foot to meet the left, and we'll slowly roll our way up to standing from here. Nicely done. That's really tricky to do. Wherever you are, make sure you're going to have enough room behind you on your mat to roll backwards. But we're going to start just by coming into a nice low squat. So take your feet just slightly wider than hip distance apart. And we'll come on down into a nice deep squat. You can bring your fingers down to the floor here and we'll just gently shift from one side to the other, loosening up the hip joints, maybe also the lower back. And then from here, however works best for you, we'll lower ourselves down to seated, maybe without the hands if you're practicing achieving that. And wherever you are, we're gonna roll our way down. So feel free, I know we've been using the legs a lot today. We might also have been using the hip flexors quite a bit today. And the lowering with the legs involved can be a little strenuous when we've been using them so much. So I'll encourage you today to either use your hands to support you down or keeping your feet planted. we'll reach our arms forwards and just gently roll ourselves down. Very, very nice. All right, take a moment to hug your knees in towards your chest here. Maybe rock a little from one side to the other, massaging the back body, which we've used so well today. And then with your knees bent at roughly a 90-degree angle, we'll open our arms out to the sides to support us. And we'll gently bring our knees over to one side to come into a bit of a reclined twist. If this feels too strenuous to you, feel free to take your feet about mat distance apart and just gently knock your knees over to one side instead of moving both knees together over to one side. Wherever you are, take a nice deep breath in. Exhale it out with a sigh. And then we'll gently lift the knees back up towards center. And we'll either, again together with the knees bent at a roughly a 90-degree angle, drop them over to the other side, coming into a reclined twist. Or if this feels a little bit too much, you can bring your feet flat onto the mat about hip distance apart and just knock your knees over to the other side. Both options are really great. Take a nice deep breath in here and let it out with a sigh. Gently bring your knees back towards center. Maybe hug them in a little bit closer with your hands. And then just for a moment, extend your knees away from you with your hands interlaced around your knees, pulling them away until your arms start to straighten and your shoulders and upper back round up off the floor. Tuck your chin towards your chest. Feel a nice stretch through the upper back here, showing the rest of the back a little bit of love. And then as you exhale, your next exhale will come on all the way down. Feel free to take your feet flat onto the mat, mat distance apart, knocking the knees in together for constructed rest. This might feel really good on your lower back. Or feel free to extend one leg out nice and long and then the other. Coming into Shavasana. Close your eyes here and allow your entire body to relax. Feel your feet and your legs heavy, your hips heavy, softening your belly, feeling your shoulders and your arms sink down into the ground. Relax your throat and let go along the back of your neck. Relax the muscles in your face. Allow just a trace of a smile onto your lips as you feel your whole body totally relaxed, totally at ease. And from this posture here, take a moment to observe how you feel physically, how your breath is moving. Maybe it's fast or slow. Notice if it's deep or shallow. And then notice how your mind is moving. Notice how your body, your breath, and your mind all feel